Ayan. So, last time, hindi tayo nakapag-session because of the bad weather. Marami sa atin is walang internet or of course, mahina ang internet. Okay? Yung last session naman natin, class, we have discussed the non-price determinants of demand and of course, the non-price determinants of supply. I also told you to do the activities for week 3 and of course yung week 4. Yun na lang ang pinagawa ko sa inyo within this week, last Monday. So, but before that, before I discuss the week 5 melt na nakalagay dyan sa inyong activity sheets, let's start discussing first the week number 4. Kasi ito yung sa coverage din sa summative test that will be posted later on. Di ba sabi ko naman sa inyo, I will not give a summative test kung hindi ko na i-discuss yung topic. Kahit pa sabihin na kompleto yung ninyo. Kompleto yung tawag doon. Kompleto yung notes ninyo diyan. Okay? So, kindly look at on page 45. Okay? So, demand, it is the amount of goods. Nasa page 45 ako of your activity sheets. Kaya natin dinidiscuss kasi di ba ito yung sinagutan ninyo. At next naman is yung sa activity sheets pa rin ako magdi-discuss kasi nakarelate doon yung sasagutan ninyo mga activities later on. Ayan. So demand is the amount of goods and services consumers are willing and able to buy from the market at various prices, all other factors remaining constant. Okay? Take note, when you say demand, sa term, amount of goods and services consumers are willing and able to buy. Meaning to say, kahit na mataas yung prices na yan, if yun ang gusto ni customer, yun ang tawag doon is demand. Yes, baby, I have a class. Next is supply. Supply is the amount of goods and services producers are willing and able to sell. So kung ang demand, goods and services consumers are willing to buy, kabaliktaran naman sa supply. Okay? Ito naman yung goods and services producers are willing and able to sell. So for example, October na ngayon. Anong next na month tayo?
November po.
November. So alam naman natin na November is meron tayong okasyon doon. Okay? Which is the nasa December na kaagad. November muna natin. Yes, All Souls Day. And anong napapansin nyo, class, kapag nandun tayo sa month na yon? What do you think is the most, o yung mga makikita mong maraming supply sa supermarket, maraming dinidemand na
mga kandila po.
Mga kandila, o di ba? Nagkalat na. What else?
Flowers.
Oh, yan, flowers. How about sa Christmas? O, di ba, September, tayo yatang pinakamahabang nagsiselebrate ng Christmas. Pagdating ng September 1, automatic, maririnig nyo na si sino?
Jose Marichan.
O, Jose Marichan, kumakanta. Di ba? So, ano naman yung madalas na in demand?
Christmas light ma'am.
Christmas lights na kaagad. What else?
Mga parol po.
Mga parol? Ano pa?
Kandila.
Kandila daw? Mga scented candles? What else?
Christmas tree ma'am.
O, Christmas decors, Christmas trees, and of course, anong dinidemand ng mga bata?
Regalo.
Regalo, ayan. Kung narinig mo yung anak ko, binibilang na niya kung ilang araw ang tulog namin sa Christmas. Sayang, hindi ko na-record kagabi. I will tell all his friends and family to bring gifts, mga ganun pang nalalaman. Tapos kahapon, nag-shopping pa siya sa Shopee. Pumipili na ng sabi ko, add cart ka lang anak ha. Sabi ko. Anyway, so that is the demand and the supply. Anyway, madali namang intindihin yung demand and supply. When you say equilibrium, our third definition, it is a state of balance when demand is equal to supply. Meaning to say the quality means that the quantity that sellers are willing to sell is also the quantity that buyers are willing to buy for a price. Sakto lang siya. Hindi ka over stock, hindi ka naman understock. Hindi ka naman, kumbaga na-predict na kaagad ni supplier kung ilan yung quantity demanded ng consumer. So, nakapaghanda siya or nakapag-stock siya ng maayos. Okay? Nagkakaroon naman kasi tayo ng shortage na tinatawag if hindi masyado naayos or na-predict or na-forecast ng supplier yung possible na i-demand ng mga consumer. Okay? So, that's why it is very important, class. You need to understand the significance of this subject kasi sabi ko nga, in your final output of this subject, you're going to propose you're going to make a business proposal. Okay? Of course, it always starts with a problem. Kasi kailangan yung business proposal ninyo, parang research din to. Business research nga lang. Yung product dapat ninyo or services dapat ninyo will answer a certain problem in our country. Okay? Then of course, in order for you to come up with a different kinds of product or services, you need to understand the behavior of your consumers. Kasi syempre, you need to ask, what are the things that my consumers needs, wants, demanded? Kasi kayo yung tutugon nun. Kayo yung magiging supplier nun. Okay? Kayo yung magbibigay ng supply sa kanila. So, yun lang naman ang significant dito sa quarter na week 2, 4. Okay? Of course, nandyan din yung ano ba ang elastic, inelastic. Wait lang. I hope nandito siya. Wait lang ha. I'm going to share. Ay, may nag-share ba? Parang may mali yata. Mali yata ako nang sinishare. Bakit hindi na share tong isa? Ayan. So anyway, yung sinishare ko ngayon, I think I already posted this one. Ito yung luma kong PowerPoint presentation na CG pa lang yung mas kasi to, mas kompleto kasi to. Discuss naman yan natin, no? I already discussed this one. Mas detailed nga lang ito. Ayan, emphasize ko lang muna tong yung sa supply. Ayan, sabi nga, it is the amount of goods and services producers are willing and able to sell in the market at various prices. All other factors remaining, of course, constant. But as a supplier class, you need to know your rights as a buyer of the goods. Okay? Now, one of those is, of course, goods should be as described, meaning to say, pag sinabi mong naka-well-pack siya na ito natural. Yan. Kung talagang natural, natural dapat. Kasi yung iba, nandadaya sa class. Yung iba, sinasabi nila na may instances pa nga, although this is mistake lang ito, pero naging issue ito kasi religious yung nakabili. Meaning to say, parang isa siyang pack ng parang noodle cup, parang ganon. But instead of pork ang nakalagay sa packaging niya, ang nakalagay doon is beef. Unfortunately, ang nakabili nun is a Muslim. Talagang dinemanda niya talaga yung company na yon. Okay? So, whatever it is na nilagay niyo dyan, same as kung gagawa rin kayo ng product later on in our marketing. Because I'll be your marketing at the same time, panigurado ako rin naman siguro ang entrep para there's a continuity. And possible na ko rin yung accounting ninyo. Para talagang masundan, di ba? So anyway, goods should be of merchantable quality. So yung iba, we have what we call overrun, di ba? So bakit kaya mas mababa yung mga prices ng mga overrun na t-shirt? Because they do not pass the QC or the quality control. Okay? Next, goods should fulfill a specific purpose. Ano bang purpose nung goods mo? So for example, bakit ka ba nagtinda ng what do you call this? Drinks or beverages? Kasi po ma'am, malayo po ang tindahan dito. Wala pong masyadong binibentang beverages yung sari-sari stores or ganon sa kalapit namin. So naisip ko po na yun ang maging business kasi to provide or to help my community. Kasi don't you know, class, that the sari-sari store is really a big help in a community kasi sometimes, di ba, there are moments na we forgot that we don't have any shampoo, any toyo, any ganyan. So, very convenient na meron kang kalapit na sari-sari store. So, in our case kasi, dito sa Saungkit, wala masyado. Scope. Lalakad pa kami ng malayo. Kaya, yun ang plan ko later on. Magtayo dito ng sari-sari store. Pero, saka na yun, di ko maharap yan. Anyway, so yun. Next, goods should have no encumbrances. Okay? So, dapat, hindi ka kumaga wala kang naapakan. Okay? Walang sabit. Okay? Buyer should be provided with an opportunity to examine the goods. 'Di ba? Minsan kapag bumibili tayo ng ilaw, tinatanong sa atin ng mga teller, "Ma'am, na-check na po ba ito?" So tinitingnan nila kung talagang umiilaw ba, is there any damages, etc. Spare parts should be available. So, yung iba, for example, sa mga buttons natin, sa damit, meron kayo nakikitang extra button, right? Meron kayong extra nakikitang telan na katahe. So, the purpose of that is to test that certain fabric sa isang sa washing machine, kung pwede ba siya sa ganitong sabon. Nang sa ganon, hindi yung buong damit mo yung mailagay sa washing machine mo kunwari, tas yun ang ma-damage. At least kung yung certain fabric lang na yun ang ilagay mo sa washing machine, kunwari, naglalaba ka, kung pwede, kasi di ba meron yan sa mga tag nakalagay kung ito ba is pwede planchahin, pwedeng i-bleach, ewan ko kung tinitingnan nyo ha. So yun ang purpose nun, okay? Next, illegal notices are of course prohibited, okay? So, for example, alam naman natin na yung drugs sa Pilipinas is of course bawal, 'di ba? So sa mga food, usually if you want to put up or develop a product na food related, may mga agency tayo na chine-check if it is hindi ba yan nakakalason or if it is FDA approved. 'Di ba? May mga minsan may nilalagay pa silang sangkap Pinoy seal, mga ganyan. I think there is a brand of milk na pina-pull out kasi basta there's something poisonous. Baby yata ang baby yata ang umiinom pa nun. So may mga ganon class, okay? And goods bought on hire purchase come with the same rights. Meaning to say, yung iba, for example, same as goods bought from agents come with the same rights. So kung ano yung karapatan mo as a consumer doon sa mismong wholesaler, dapat ganun din ang karapatan mo sa distribution center kung saan mo nabili or sa sari-sari store. Same lang yan. Okay? For example, usually talaga, may 1 month tayong return policy. Pero, if you can see in the department store, nilalagay lang nila 7 days replacement of the product as long as you have the receipt. Siguro, one of the reason is because kasi ganun din. Nina-apply din nila yung kung tayo 1 week sa kanila, sila 1 month. Kasi syempre, lalo na kung malayo pa yung malayo pa yung pagpapalitan nila, 'di ba? So isa 'yon sa mga policies, okay? So, one of your classmates nagpaya, ma'am, paano po ito gagawin? Ma'am, ang hirap po ganito, ganyan. Paano po i-solve to, ma'am? So, there is a formula in doing that. I hope tawag doon, nag-search naman siya. Nandiyan naman actually yun sa, sa PowerPoint ninyo. Okay? Nandito yan, na-discuss yan dito. Ayan. Quantity demanded. Okay? QD is quantity demanded. So you just use the algebra and use the transposition method. Okay? I'm done discussing that one. So dito naman is you just compare changes in quantity supplied versus change in supply. Okay. So this is an example of the market equilibrium. So yung 4.2 and 3.6 where the supply and demand meet. Okay. So yan yon. What else? Hinahanap po yung elastic and inelastic class. Kasi sa sa graph pa lang, malalaman mo na if it is inelastic or elastic. Okay? If you're looking for the formula at hindi nyo alam kung paano i-solve, you can just browse it. Wait lang, check natin kung anong slide. Ayan. Nandyan lang po. Ayan naman yung example. Okay? Maganda sana itong i-explain kung may blackboard tayo. Okay? But anyway, nandyan naman po kung paano natin nakuha. You just substitute the value. Okay? So for example, dito is, you try to solve nga, quantity demanded 1 worth 10,000. Quantity demanded 2, 11,000. Price is 5. Price 2 is 4. Okay? Use this formula. You're going to determine for the elasticity. So when you say elastic, the result should be what? One more than one. Meaning to say, most of these products class are luxury goods. When it is unitary, it is equal to 1. Meaning to say, ang result nito is equal to 1. But in this case, it is less than 1. Less than 0 pa nga. So that is an inelastic. Ayan naman po class. Oh. Ayan ang explanation naman dyan. Okay? I hope I'm not So let's discuss next naman. Back tayo doon sa our week 5. Ito naman yung sasagutan nyo this week. Okay? Pero ang coverage natin class is up to the computation lang of if it is inelastic, graphing of supply and demand, yung mga non-price determinants, okay? Yung pag-shapes ng demand curve, basta yun lang po ang pag-aaralan ninyo. Ala, sorry po. Sorry sa mga ngayon ko lang maya admit. Wait lang, class. Bakit hindi ko sila ma-admit? Wait lang mga napong. Hindi ko siya ma-admit dito sa desktop. Don't forget to screenshot while discussing the topic, okay? Yan. Sensya na po sa mga kaka-add ko lang. Yan. So let's proceed to our week 5. Just going to open the activity sheets class. So while waiting, our topic for week 5 is, or the MELC for our week 5, is to differentiate various market structures in terms of number of sellers, type of products, entry, exit to market, pricing power, and of course, others. So by the end of this session, the learner shall be able to identify market structures, propose and give examples of market structures, and of course, create the market structures, perfect competition, monopoly, oligopoly, and monopolistic competition. Actually, nandito naman yan. Nandito yung monopoly, oligopoly. Yan.
Ma'am, excuse po.
Yes?
Ma'am, pa-accept daw po yung si Shane Erolin.
Wala nang nakalagay dito na akong na i-accept ko. So far, wala naman. So anyway, sabihin mo wala ka mo. May nakikita ba yung market structure?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Ayan. So we have different types of market structure. Okay. We have first is the perfect competition. So when we say, but before that, we need to define first what is market structure. So market structure class refers to the competitive environment in which buyers and of course sellers operate. Okay? Competition means or refers to the rivalry among various sellers in the market. So we have also what you call monopolistic competition. By the way, ito yung sinasabi ko ngayon class is on your activity sheets on page 51. Nagloloko kasi itong desktop ko ayaw ma-open. Kaya verbal na lang. Okay? So we also have what you call monopolistic competition. A monopolistic competitive market is characterized by many sellers of differentiated products. Pag sinabi namang perfect competition, ayan na yan. A perfectly competitive market exists where there are many sellers of homogeneous product on the market. So as you can see, we have apples, right? But we have different type of apples. Okay? So, pag sinabing perfectly competitive market, marami kayong mga tindera na pare-pareho yung binibenta ninyong product. So, kung gulay, puro kayo nagtitinda ng gulay, at the same time, pare-pareho pang gulay ang binibenta nyo. Okay? That is a perfect competition. Monopoly naman, on the other hand, or monopolistic competition is of course a one-firm industry and there is only one producer of a unique product that has no available substitute in the market. So can you think of a product na sila lang ang provider? So dati, we can say that PLDT monopolize this country in terms of telecommunication. But of course now, hindi na. Nawala na nga si PLDT class eh. Because the smart telecommunication company bought the PLDT. Kaya kung mapapansin nyo, ito po yung dating logo ng PLDT if you are not aware. But if you're going to analyze now, parang same na siya ng what do you call this? Same na siya ng smart. Kulay red lang ang kulay. 'Di ba? Dati, Meralco monopolize this whole country in terms of electricity. But now, we have some substitute, some, yes baby? Oh, I still have online class anak, wait lang. Then, but today, we have what you call solar energy, diba? And other, yes. Oh, dun ka na. Oh, there you go eat. And other providers of electricity. Diba? What else? In terms, can you think of an example na sa palagay nyo, wala kayong mapiling iba, siya lang. Class. Hello? May kausap po ba ako? Hello, class? Naririnig ba ako? Nawala ako. Oh, hello, class. Ba't hindi kayo sumasagot? Kala ko wala na ako. How can you think of a product? Under monopoly.
Morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Oh, anyone from the class? Can you think of a product or a company na minomonopolize niya? Yes,
Ako po, ma'am.
rent. Ian.
Microsoft po.
Microsoft. Yes, JR?
Facebook po.
Facebook. Sa bagay, no? Kasi dati, although si Facebook, wala siyang kalaban. How about si Twitter? Hindi ba pumapantay si Twitter?
Mas marami pong tao sa Facebook, ma'am.
But kapag sinabi mo kasing monopoly, alam mo yung parang no choice ka na talaga. Ganon. Kaya nga mono, one, single. So,
Google
for
Meet po.
example, ha?
Google Meet po, ma'am.
Google Meet. Oh, we have Zoom. We have Teams from Microsoft. So, yung idea ng, dito na lang, gawin natin localized class. Can you think of an industry here in mga tarem na siya lang ang dominante? Halos siya lang ang nagpo-produce. Sa kanya lang tayo usually kumukuha. Any product. It can be services.
Ma'am, Senpelco po.
Senpelco. Siya lang, di ba? Wala tayong choice kundi sa Senpelco. Although gustuhin man natin mag-solar, pero wala talaga yung, alam mo yung talagang solar company. Oh, tama, Senpelco. Pwede natin sabihin yon. Si ano pa? Meron pa ba kayo naiisip? So, ganun ang idea class ng Monopoly. Kaya Monopoly. So, kung naglalaro kayo ng Monopoly games, mas madaling maintindihan nyo yun. Yung game board. Ano kasi, lumaki ako sa game board. So, when you say mono, there's a possibility na maaring yung company na yan is nag-o-offer ng different products, pero siya pa rin may-ari ng lahat. Diba? So, ganon. Let's proceed. Naintindihan po ba yung idea ng monopoly?
Yes, ma'am.
Yan.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, how about oligopoly? Oligopoly markets are characterized by very few sellers with homogeneous or, of course, unique product. Okay? So, for example, it was also divided into 4. Pure oligopoly, differentiated oligopoly, collusive oligopoly, and of course, non-collusive oligopoly. Okay? And under the collusive oligopoly, we have divided into 2, cartels and of course, price leadership. And under the price leadership, we have low-cost price leadership, dominant price leadership, and of course, barometric price leadership. So under the oligopoly class, it is a market form in which a market or industry is of course dominated by a small number of sellers. Ang tawag nila sa sellers na yon is oligopolies. Because there are few sellers, each oligopolies is likely to be aware of the actions of the others. The decisions of one firm influence and are influenced by the decisions of course, other firms. Okay? So, for example, may certain industry dito sa mga tarem na kapag nagpalit siya ng ganitong or nagtaas siya ng ganitong presyo, dahil kukonti lang sila, so aware siya na, ay, ganito na pala ang price ng, alam mo parang nag-uusap-usap na yung mga yan. 'Di ba? Hindi pa pwedeng 5 pesos ka, sila nag 10 pesos na. Kasi malalaman nila yan eh. So kapag nag 10 pesos ka, dapat 10 pesos din lahat. Okay? Why ganun yung ano nila? Because they interact. Maliwanag po ba yung oligopoly? So, ito pa naman, kanina, monopoly yung in-describe natin, di ba? So, pag sinabi naman class monopolistic competition, this is an example. Yung picture na yan. Anong monopolistic competitive market is characterized by many sellers of differentiated product. Example, sa shampoo, meron tayong iba't ibang uri ng brand ng shampoo. Pero sa isang brand din, meron naman iba't ibang klaseng flavor. Pero same pa rin yan. Diba? May question ba at the moment? Class?
Wala po.
For your activities for week 5, as always, I want you to answer page 51 to 52. Take note, 1, 2, 3 question lang yan. Essay yan. Huwag nyo kahabaan, ha? Direct to the point. 3 to 5 sentences will do. Okay? Naka-rubric yan. I will be the one to check that. What else? Please also answer page 53 to 54. That is multiple choice. 10 items lang po yun. Then, 55 to 56. 5 questions lang din po yun. Also, 57 to 60, a multiple choice. That is a 30 items question. In preparation for your summative test. Yung third summative test hindi na to kabilang sa second summative test class. Okay? And last but not the least is the case study or the case analysis on page 61 to 62. But I will give you a format on how to do a case study. Alam niyo na ba paano gumawa ng case study, class?
Hindi pa po, ma'am.
Ayan, I will give you an example on how you answer a case study. Okay? And of course, same, since there is already an answer key in the multiple choice question, I want you to ask your parents or ate or your study facilitator to check and of course sign. So same pa rin if you think that the answer key is wrong, always or the question is wrong at wala doon yung tamang sagot, please do write the correct answer and message me and we will look into that. Okay? So that's all, class. That ends our session for today. And for next week, we're going to discuss week 6, which is to analyze the effects of contemporary economic issues affecting the Filipino entrepreneur. That is on page 65. You may have your advanced reading. Don't worry. Page 65, 66, up to 68 lang. More on, isa lang ang activity nyo dito, but more on essay type ito. Okay? And your week 5 and 6 will be your last summative test. Test 3 and 4. Ayan. So may questions po ba? You may also browse my PowerPoint presentation.
Ma'am, isisend niyo po ba yung PowerPoint?
Actually, nasend ko na yan, anak. Nasend ko na yung activity sheets. Lahat ito nasend ko na. Dalawa ito. Ito kasi yung pinakaluma ko. Nasend ko na rin yung parang applied economics na black and white na PowerPoint. Pa-check naman please. If not, isasend ko. Pero ang pagkakalam ko talaga nasend ko na to. Doon sa materials, activity sheets, tas alam ko dalawang PowerPoint yun. Okay, nandyan na rin yung ibang mga formula. Ito mga pinactivity ko to. Hindi ko na pinactivity during our discussion. Nasa ganun, continue yung ating discussion. Okay? Hindi na rin kasi updated to. For example, yung mga currency, hindi na siya updated. Ayan. Pero with regards sa different definition of terms, such as, for example, elasticity, yan, nandyan yan. Price elasticity, the formula, yan, nandyan yan. Okay?
Ma'am, may isang PowerPoint lang po yung nandito.
May isang PowerPoint. O sige, I will send this after this session. Okay?
Thank you po.
Okay. May question po ba? Naku, patay. Si Angel Grace, kakapasok lang. Naku, patapos na ang klase ko. Anyway, it will be posted naman. Paki-remind lang din ako class kasi sa sobrang daming klase ko rin. Na-download ko na, tapos di ko pa ma-upload, mga ganun. Ayan. Anyway, basta kapag may mga time na hindi natin na-discuss, i-discuss naman natin. Okay? So may questions po ba tayo?
Ma'am, pwede pong itanong yung sa PE po, ma'am.
Oo, ano yon?
Yung
Ay, may
deadline
nagsabi.
po.
Okay. So may nanghingi na extension. Okay lang po na ma-extend as long as you can pass it before the end of tawag doon. First
Yung
quarter.
November po yung sasagutan dun, ma'am.
Oo. Mas maganda yung mag-advance na tayo, class. Okay? Kasi supposed to be, dapat ang ginawa lang ninyo is of course mag-exam. Mag-summative test. Nasagutan niyo na ba yung summative test? Class?
Yes po.
Napasa na kayo?
Opo.
Ayan. So, yun lang. So, sa PE, start doing na yung November. Kung wala naman, kung marami kayong time. But if you don't have enough time, so pwede namang sa November nyo na i-submit. Yung
Ma'am,
nakalagay
pero wala pa po kayong sinend.
na.
November sa
Ito lang
June
po
po.
nyo.
WHP lang po yung meron, ma'am.
Yung HO, class? Yun na yun.
Ma'am, pang October lang po yung sinend nyo.
Oo nga po.
Sige. I-check ko na lang. Double check ko na lang. Sige, thank you for telling me. Sige. Send ko na lang yun, class. Okay? So, meron pa bang concern? So, kung wala na po, let's end our session. Kindly open your cam. I have an online class first. Wait lang. Oh, nobody take care of the bata daw. Ayan. Kindly have a screenshot. Ang nagloloko ata ang camera ko. Yan. Make sure na meron kayong screenshot sa bawat nyo ha. Kasi it will be included in your portfolio. Remind nyo nga ako na isend ko na yung template ng portfolio. Ayan. So, 1, 2, 3, smile. Ayan. Goodbye, class. Okay, bye-bye. Pasend na lang sa mga
Bye,
picture.
ma'am.
And then, don't forget the date and the subject in your section. Bye.